One thing that I wish that I had known when I started in a parish on my own was that conflict cannot be avoided. This was really important learning, because one thing about parish ministry is conflict is a constant. There's a group of people called your church, and every person in it has an idea of how things should be, and it will be different to yours, and it will be different to each other's. And that will bring all of you at times into conflict. And that's not counting those times when there's miscommunication or something happens by accident. Conflicts arise, and I needed to learn to expect them and to face them. Now I know that by facing conflict, people who may seem to be opponents, that is, the ones on the other side of the conflict from me, when we sit down together and do the hard work of resolving the issue, I get to know them better, they get to know me better. Our relationship is often improved, enhanced. Confronting these issues, confronting these conflicts, leads to better relationships and better ministry.
One of the things I wish I had known when I started in the parish on my own was that I did not have to fulfill everyone's expectations of me. People would often say things like, "Oh, well, you know, Father, well, he would visit people every afternoon, and oh, Father would used to clean the church roof all on his own, and oh, Father would mow the church grounds every Saturday." Some of that was true, but some of those expectations came from a misremembered past. That was a really important learning for me, because I could get quite miserable thinking about the things I was not doing without thinking about the things I could and should and actually wanted to be doing. Now I know that, I'm able to both honour the past and also not to get caged in by it. Part of our jobs is to help people to carefully remember the past. It was not all tea, cake and scones, nor was it all hard yakka. They muddled through, just like we muddle through.
One thing I wish I had known really well when I started in parish ministry on my own was church governance's regulations and canons. I'm not an administrative person and didn't pay much attention to these lessons in ministry formation. This was a really important learning, because once I began reading and rereading them, I could see that most of the problems that I had encountered had what one would call an SOP, a standard of operational procedure, to follow. Now that I know this, I actually have used them as bedtime reading a couple of times, and these regulations are now saved in a PDF on my computer. I also have Kelly Houston, the Diocesan Parish Liaison Officer, on speed dial. She is a wealth of knowledge, and if she can't help you, she will definitely know who can.
One thing I wish I had known when I started in a parish on my own was how little people know or seem to care about what the priest does between Sundays. This was a really important learning for me, because it removed all sorts of pressure to be constantly busy, to fill my time. But it also freed me up to spend time doing the sorts of work I really loved doing. Once I knew that, I was able to shape my week better, and then to be quite intentional about letting people know just what I did do in the time between one Sunday and the next. Freed from expectations that weren't real, I was able to flourish and really enjoy my first incumbency.
One thing I wish I had realised early on in my ministry was to accept my own authority. That may sound strange to you, but when you are the person in charge, it's hard sometimes to accept that you are in the position where you can make those decisions that you need to make, and that people will listen to what you say. I know I felt like a fraud for such a long time, and still do to some extent, because I think, here am I, this person telling others how the Christian life should be lived, and yet in my own life I don't live up to that in so many ways. But I have slowly over the years learned to accept that I have the authority to do that, that I have done the training, that I have the experience, I've done my time, and I've learned a lot over the years, and I continue to learn. But to accept that you do have the authority to make those decisions, to make them lovingly and clearly and in a timely way, but to accept, yes, I have been ordained for this role, and accept that of yourself.